So in this video, I would like to really jump into Elementor and get started on building the main website. Now remember, I made this mock-up of the homepage I would kind of like to create in Elementor. So to refresh your memory, this is kind of the general guideline I'm going to go through, and in this video we are going to start making the navigation header. So this is what I'm going to be making in Elementor. So to get started, you're going to want to come into your dashboard and come over here to templates, and we're going to go into theme builder. And this is where you can see the basic templates that you have made for each one of these different sections they have in these tabs here. I'm going to click on add new to add a new header. And we are going to select header in the template type. And we're going to name this navbar. And we are going to create that template, and that will redirect us to the main theme builder page. And here right away it prompts us, hey, we have a bunch of pre-built templates. Do you want to start off with any of those? Now, if you have a design mockup or don't have anything in mind, these are really great place to start. They have these pre-built nav bars you can start with and just edit from there. That is a really great quick way to get started, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to at least go about creating one from scratch. So I'm just going to X out of this, and here we are in the main Elementor page. So this is what the page builder looks like, regardless of if you are building a navigation or a footer or just a full page. This is what it's going to look like. So as I said before, Elementor is a drag and drop editor. So over here on the left, you have a whole bunch of elements you can drag into your page that is on the right. In our case, it is a nav bar. So in order to start building our nav bar, which looks like this, what we're going to want to do is first set this up as a row. So a row is basically just a container. So we're going to want one container for this header. And then we're going to want to put columns in that container for each one of these three sections, because we have three sections, right? We have the left navigation, we have the center logo, and we have the right navigation. So we're going to want a row or a container for this full thing, and then three columns. So to set that up, we're going to go to the page builder, and we're going to click this red plus or maroon or whatever color that is. And that will prompt us to select a structure. So like I said before, we want that to be three columns. So we're going to select that, and it automatically adds that right here, right at the top of the page. This blue outline here is the row or the container that I talked about before. So if you select that blue box over here on the left, you'll see a few different settings for that row. You can change the layout style, some more advanced settings. You don't really need to worry about that for right now, but just be aware that those settings are over here. And then you can see these little plus icons house the drop areas for where you can put your different widgets. So what I'm going to do right now is click on this plus button, and we are going to drag a nav menu into there because that is a nav menu. So right away it pre-populates with one of my pre-made menus. So before this video, I actually went in and created three new menus since we have these two different spots here. So I created a menu for the left side and the right side. And then what I'm going to do actually is create a third menu up here that only appears on mobile, so that a drop down will include each of these things. Otherwise, if we just had these two sections, I'll show you here really quick. On mobile, it will have all these things here, but you'll have actually two of these hamburger icons, which isn't really what we want. So I'll kind of come back to that in a little bit. But for now, that is our menu. And right now, I just want to edit the style of this because I don't really like the green here. That's not really working with my theme. So I am going to click on this and click the style. And what I am going to do is change this typography. So it gives you three different options: normal, hover, and active, because, you know, links have different states. So when you hover over it, when it's green like this, that's the hover state. And then when you actually press down on your mouse and click, that is the active state. You don't really need to worry about that, but just be aware that it's there. So I think the normal state of this is actually fine. What I'm going to concentrate on is the hover, and I want the text color to be my secondary. So here are our global colors. Now, I didn't set these yet. I will come back to these in the next video, and we're going to set our overall theme, including the colors and the typography, but just be aware that they're here. So for this, I don't want them green. I'm just going to choose secondary because that will work better than this. And then the pointer color, I am also going to do as secondary because that looks a little bit better. But I don't really like the underline on that, so I'm going to change that under here, content. And when it says pointer, that means what happens when you hover over it. So I don't want underline. I don't really love a lot of these, so I'm actually just going to click none. But you can click through here and experiment. Here's overline, double line, all that fun stuff. But I'm going to click none, and that works great for me. If I wanted to, I could come back here and hover and make it a color when you hover. But I don't really want to do that, so we're going to do just the secondary, and that works great. Now, I'll also want to make sure, first of all, this isn't the right menu. I got to switch that to the left because that's the left. You'll see that matches the mockup pretty good there. I am going to want to right align this. We can come here under align and put it to the right. That's perfect. And then one cool thing you can do with Elementor actually is just duplicate items so that you don't have to reset them up. So since this right menu is the same thing as right over here, what I'm going to do is right click it and select duplicate. And it will do that, and we'll drag it over, and there we go. Now the only things I have to change here, since it's the same style mainly, are selecting the right menu, since those links are different, and we are going to want to align this one left. And there we go. There are our two menus. Now all we need to do is select the menu image for this middle one. So we're going to come back to this plus menu and come in here, and you can see right away it gives us an option for our site logo, which you'll remember before when we went to themes and customize, we set the site logo there. So if we drag that in, it will automatically pre-populate with our site logo, and there we go. Now you'll notice that these are not vertically centered. So in order to vertically center this, we're actually going to click on this column settings, which is right here. And we're going to come over here and for vertical line, select middle. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Vertical line, middle. And there we go. That looks much better. So now, as we were kind of doing before, you can get a preview of how this will look responsively. So if we click on this little computer icon down here and click on tablet, that's what it looks like on tablet. And you'll see what I was talking about before is it will create two different hamburger menu icons. Now, we don't really want that. Here's what it would look like on mobile, which is just very confusing. We're actually going to drag in a new nav menu and just put that right above the logo. And we're going to come in here and select the mobile menu, which would include all of these links in one menu. And what I am going to do is come under advanced responsive, and I'm going to say hide on tablet and hide on desktop. So when we're on desktop, that menu won't show. And when we're on mobile, I'm going to want both of these menus to not show. So if we click on one of these and come to advanced responsive, and we are going to hide that on mobile, and we're going to hide this one on mobile. And there we go. So if we come in here now and preview on mobile, you'll see those two are disabled, so they won't show, but we have our one mobile menu right here, which is all of our links. So that's perfect. So that is pretty close to the mockup. The only other thing I want to do is make this logo a bit smaller on mobile. So if we come into mobile mode and click on this image, we're going to go into style and just change the width of this to be a bit smaller. Honestly, probably just 50%. I think that looks really good. So we're going to publish that, and we're going to add in conditions saying we want to make this display on the entire site. You can get pretty in-depth here since we have Elementor Pro as to when you want certain things to appear, but since this is a header for our entire site, we want to select entire site for that. So we're going to save and close. And if we click on View Live Site down here, we can see there is our awesome menu with our awesome links for each of these pages that we have to set up yet. And it works great on mobile. And there we go. That is pretty much our header. So if we compare to this, you'll see there's a few things missing here. We have to set up our global typography yet. And obviously this is all white text on a darker background since this homepage has a dark background. So once we get into the homepage design, we are going to change this to white. But for now, the next thing we're going to do is jump into the main site theme settings. In order to access this, you're going to want to come into the sidebar and click this little hamburger icon. That'll reveal kind of the overall menu for Elementor, and we are going to select Site Settings at the very top. So this will bring you to a few different options. The main ones we're going to focus on right now are the design system ones. So we're going to jump into global colors first, and you'll notice that these colors are not really matching what I designed in my mockup. So I'm going to want to update those. And the cool thing about this in Elementor is that when you update these, they will, as it says, be global colors. So when you update them there, they will be updated everywhere. So we're going to go ahead, I think for primary color, I actually kind of like that blue. For secondary, I'm going to make sure that blue matches my dark blue. Grab the hexadecimal for that blue right there in the dog ear, and we're going to click on that and change it. Now if you don't know the hexadecimal of your brand color, there's a few different ways you can get that. Open it in Photoshop, find some kind of color picker, and you can probably find the hexadecimal number for it. Otherwise, just go ahead and click this and kind of mess around and get it as close as you can. For the text here, I'm just going to choose kind of a duller dark blue. I think that'll work fine. For the accent color, I think I want not light blue. Let's just do kind of a darker blue. Give it a minute to update. I think that'll be fine. So all these colors kind of look nice, and that is looking good. So you can also add a color if you want, if you have more colors than that. I don't, so I am just going to delete that. So then we'll jump into global fonts. So this is where you're going to set your fonts for your site. So in my mockup, this main headline font is actually called Poppins. If we go in here and click on primary, we're going to change this font family to Poppins. And these should be all Google fonts here that you'll see imported. So you have a variety of options here. If you don't have one picked out specifically, scroll through here and kind of find a fun one that you like. You can go ahead and change the default size for each one of these global font settings. For my purposes, I'm going to keep them the same. For the secondary font, I'm actually using Roboto and a lighter version of it. So that will work great for me. The text, I want the same. And accent, we're going to keep like that. Just going to play with the weights here. I think that's closer to what we want. That looks pretty good. So I think I'm happy with that. I'm just going to keep going through these site settings. So you have a few other things here. We did the fonts. You have typography here, where you can change the color of your body copy, the color and type font for each one of the heading styles. Play around with that, see what you like. I think I'm just going to leave it all as the default because that looks pretty good. You also have button styles here, so make sure you play around with those and get them to be exactly the way that you like. You can add a shadow if you want, background color. I think I want that to be, actually primary would be good. We're going to add a shadow to it too. If you had a button on one of these pages, that would show as an example, but unfortunately I don't, so I'm kind of going off what I know here. But that'll work pretty good. And then the rest you don't really need to worry about right now. We'll come back to some of these, but that's a kind of a quick overview of some of your global site settings. So definitely spend some time and make sure that you have your colors and your fonts set so that when you're building your menu and header, you have that all set. So go ahead and spend some time on that. Get your header bar set up exactly how you want, and I will see you in the next video.